starting. So this is being recorded. So keep that in mind. I share this recording with people who ask me who were not able to participate, and so we do record it. Okay, so back to Anna Akhmatova. I don't want to emphasize her because it's so easy. Her life was so rich with meaning, and her life was so rich with experience and brilliant writing. She's a brilliant poetess. In any language she would be brilliant because her language is short, it's crisp, her images are very strong, and that's what makes the Torah so important, is that it's succinct, it gets to the point, and there are many different interpretations. But she grew up in a very comfortable household, an aristocratic household that she grew up in, had given a very privileged education. Her parents were landowners, and she claimed her heritage goes back to the Mongol times. To this Akhmat tribe is one of the famous tribes of Mongolia that paid tribute to the czars at one time. So I read about. She considers herself in a line of very privileged women, and we'll see in a little while. I want to emphasize her background as a entry to the poetry. The poetry needs to stand on itself. This is a great book. It taught me that you cannot study poetry primarily by the understanding the biography of the writer. That comes in second. But the main thing is to look at the language and see how the language reflects whatever the feeling that particular person has. So we'll save her private life, hopefully, to the end. And if you guys think it's so important to interrupt, please do. I don't want anybody to feel hampered. Okay. So where do we start? We start with a very short poem, which everybody should have. It's called Rachel's Tomb. Okay. It is all of 9. Do I cover it? I thought it was 10. Yeah, there are 10 sentences. Okay. And then there's a longer poem, as you can see, which is 2.5 times the size. So we need to ask why this is such a short poem. Why? Why is Rachel such an important personage to this particular poet who's she could have written about any Esther, Miriam, uh, the other mothers of Sarah, Rivka. Why did she choose Rachel of all people? And my quick question is, why is this poem so short when we know that Rachel lived a very complete life? And one of the things I was very happy to discover, thank you to Marina, is that in looking at this poem, I discovered that she had written another poem on Rachel, which is quite a bit longer. So the question is why one poem is so much longer than the other poem, etc. Okay, there should be extra copies here. This is the second poem, Rachel. I'm going to start with the short version first because that it's easier to do. Okay. Okay, so Jake, why don't you read the first 3 lines for us?
He passed away and was returned by Jacob to divide the road, and on the tomb, no sight of any name in inscription, no marker.
Okay. What do we learn here? We learn she passed away. Okay. She's a matriarch, and she was married to Jacob. We know that. We'll get into her 21 years of so-called servitude with her husband. That's a separate issue. But she was interred by Jacob beside the road. So what's the big question here? Where should she be buried? Where were the where? In Machpelah, right, in the cave of Machpelah. That's where the forefathers and their families were buried. So she's buried beside the road, okay. And why was she buried beside the road? What happened to her along the way?
She turned around and looked at God's destruction of Sodom.
No. This is Lot. That's Lot. That's Lot's wife.
Oh, Lot's
Yeah, we're
wife.
going to get to her. I mean, with a grain of salt. Hey, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. You have to mute yourself. Unmute. Okay, you're muted. Okay. This is Helene who comes to every session. Helene, she couldn't make it. But Helene comes all the time. Okay. So Lot is a different take Lot's story with a grain of salt. That's something else. With a grain of salt. Lot's story. Okay. So that's the reason that Jacob was on his way towards Bethlehem. And so she died along the way, and it was a very sad and tragic story. Okay, no mention of that here. Okay, and that these are important details as to why she left that out. Okay, um, so she's buried along the road. I mean, a common pedestrian warfare. I mean, for a woman of sanctity as she was, one of the three mothers of their forefathers, wives, I should say. Uh, and there's a tomb placed her, and there's no name as I read it. Correct? There's no name on the tomb. Why not? Why not? I mean, these are questions that we need to struggle with. I mean, is she so insignificant? Was Jacob in such a hurry to bury her ritually that he didn't have time to inscribe? You usually put up a tomb usually 11 months after, correct? 11 months after.
Something of the law.
Right. According to current tradition. So he didn't have time to inscribe it. Go ahead.
But he later explains this towards the end to Yosef that I had to do it this way because Joseph, what happened to my mother? He explains saying he had to do this, not the details of why, but at least
He had to bury.
It just
He had
happened
to
at her
bury
on the way.
Joseph's mother along the way. He does say that, yeah. No inscription. Okay, I want her to be remembered. People stopping along the way and maybe not knowing who she was for future generations. But that's, it's very short. I want to emphasize that this is very short language. It doesn't tell us really why the poet is attracted to the fact that there is no name on the tombstone. If you have any ideas, please raise your hand because the rabbis have so much what they call midrash tales that they make up from all of the undisclosed details that it's overwhelming. And the title for this session, by the way, is called "There's More Than Meets the Eye." We'll see in a short while why I chose that. Okay, so as people going along the way, there's nothing to see here. It's just a tombstone. Okay, and there are pictures online. Well, it's getting ahead. That's getting ahead. Okay, okay. Next one, Les, would you do the next three lines?
Nighttime is a gleaming feeble light and whitewashed with chalk. The grave cupola on the mat of paleness is attired.
Okay. Okay. What do we make of this? First of all, we have the scene nighttime. Okay. We see a feeble light and whitewashed with chalk. Okay. What is chalk? Chalk is made out of like talc. Chalk is talc. It's very, shall we say, not fungible, but it flakes. We're talking about flaking. Okay, and so we have a feeble light on a tombstone, whitewashed because there's nothing on it, quite frankly, and it's flaking away. There's very little memory of the person indicated by this tombstone, and the grave's cupola with an enigmatic paleness is attired. Now, the cupola, I take it, refers to the upper part of the monument. It's an upper part. In the old days, there was a cupola. On top of it, again, it's bare. It's a cupola, and the church is it's a dome of some sort. A dome.
Do you know when that was built? That little building around it. It was just on.
Good
the side
question.
of the road.
No, I don't know. I know I've seen pictures of it
Yeah.
online.
Oh, you never saw it
Yeah.
in person.
next three lines, Joyce, you want to read it? You guys have to leave early, I know.
I'm timidly approaching as the night falls, and kiss the dust and chalk and on rail of his tombstone, artless, white, cold, sweetest of earthly words, I feel.
Okay. So whoever is approaching the poet, okay, timidly approaching as night falls. Again, it's a dark scene, and we have this dust, the chalk coming off of the whitewashed chalk coming off. And what is the reaction of the poet writing it? I mean, how does she feel? She tells you, she says she kisses the dust and chalk. I mean, that's pretty strong image of her kissing little substance, okay? In awe, she's in awe and thrill of this tombstone, artless, this meaning without any inscription on the tomb. It's artless, without any art. Yes. One moment. It's white and cold. Okay, so she's in awe, and yet this tombstone is just sitting there, fading light, chalk coming off, and she said, the sweetest of earthly words, Raquel. Okay, so we get a feeling that she's in awe of this anonymous grave. Okay, go ahead. You want to say something?
I can't help but think that one of the reasons he was buried on the road or off the road, he went from one place to another.
Okay,
Now, in those days, grave robberies were very prevalent. We know that from the tombs of Pharaoh. So therefore, to keep it anonymous, and maybe a lot smarter thing to do than put an inscription on it, but that would be attract grave robbers thinking that there's
very good.
a fortune
Very good.
buried with
Yeah.
the person.
Certainly
Yeah.
appropriate, like
Yeah.
pharaohs now.
I like that. I like that interpretation. And I can understand Abraham not wanting to, again, this is a public thoroughfare and people going to Bethlehem.
Right on the road.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to call it attraction to his wife. And the poet is drawn
Right, the grave.
to, the poet
That's
is
quite
drawn to Rachel and we'll find out. We'll find out why this poet, the Rachel's life is so, shall we say, convoluted and so rich with meaning and interpretation. And the reason that she is considered one of the matriarchs is because the obvious thing is that she is married to a patriarch. Okay, we know that to Jacob, and we know that she comes from an important family, the family of Abraham. She's related to Rivka, and she is, above all, she's a barren woman. She is somebody who is married to Jacob, and we'll get into that. I want to introduce the story here. If everybody could take the Chumash and open it up to Genesis, which is right at the beginning of the book, and we are in page page 108, 108, okay. 108 in this Hertz. I use the Hertz book because it's easier. The pages are less cluttered with the Rashi and Unclus, and it's easier to read. That's the reason I chose this particular version. Okay, so we're introduced to Rachel in this chapter. It's in the portion called Vayetze, and we learned that Rachel, first of all, she is in a family of shepherds. She is a shepherdess, okay. And her father, who's Rachel's father? Come on.
Laban.
Laban, correct. Laban. And he is a famous sheep herder. He loves the cattle. He loves to screw people out of their cattle. He tried very much to hoodwink Jacob with cattle and hoodwink Jacob with working extra time for him in order to claim his intended wife was, of course, Rachel. Okay, so let us start with uh, number 7, and we can read it in the English. Okay, I'm going to call on Marina. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me, David? David, I asked you to unmute. Can you hear me? David, hello. All right. I asked to unmute. Okay. All right. Helene, can you hear me? Raise your hand if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, David can hear me. I'm not sure about Helene. Helene, can you hear me?
I'm up to the phone.
Okay, Helene, I take it you can hear me. Okay, good. All right, so Marina, why don't you start with number 7, reading it in the English, and we're learning about Rachel encounter with her intended husband. Go ahead.
And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it times cattle should be gathered together, water as a sheep, and go and feed them.
Okay, so Jacob is encountering her, and he sees that it's very, very warm day, and she's surrounded by a lot of cattle. I mean, and they need to be watered. He said, "Time to gather." He's telling her, okay. Go ahead, number 8, continue.
And they said, We cannot until all the flocks are gathered together, and they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then the sheep.
Okay, so it was very traditional in Semitic cultures, in order to protect the water from infestation of all sorts, to put a big rock there so that, no creatures of the night, weasels or whatever, foxes would come in and pollute the water. So you have this big rock in front of the cave. Go ahead, continue.
While he was yet speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she tended them.
Okay, so we know that Rachel is a shepherd lady. Okay, and that's very significant because we can talk about that. She's probably the only one in the entire Torah that's mentioned that she is a shepherdess. Yeah, and she's very important. She tended. Okay, number 10. Continue.
What about daughters of Itro?
Very good. I know you get me on that. Okay, so these are heathen ladies, and yes, they were shepherds. Yes, very, very good. And so she's not the only, but she's the only one of the in the line of the matriarchs and patriarchs. Go ahead. Yeah.
To pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brothers, and Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
Okay, so here we have Jacob called upon to move a rock. Now, I want to mention to you, do you think these rocks are small? Anybody? These are huge rocks. Okay, and it takes a number of people to move them. And here you have Jacob coming forth, and the rabbis make a lot of it. They say he's inspired by her looks at this point. He doesn't even mention that she looks beautiful, but he's inspired, and it takes 3 or 4 men to move this rock, and he steps forward and he does it by himself. Okay, and Vayogel et Evan. Evan is a rock. Vayogel, and he rolled it away from the mouth of this cave, the cave of water. Okay. All right. And Ludmila, would you want to read the next one, number 11?
And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept.
Okay. Go ahead. Get one more. Go ahead.
And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father.
Okay. Now, what is unusual about Jacob's reaction? Ludmila, is there anything that you ask? Here he is. He doesn't even know who she is, right?
And he goes ahead and kisses her. That's
Okay.
chutzpah.
Okay, so he expresses chutzpah. I do agree. Okay, I mean, it was a rather forward thing to do.
Did practice
Am I interpreting this right? That Rachel was really the niece, was his first cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I am
Yeah,
interpreting that right.
you're interpreting it right. Okay, so he kissed her. Okay. On one hand, it's very aggressive. I agree with you. It's chutzpah. But on the other hand, these are relatives. They're cousins. You know? And so he's telling her, look, he tells her, look, he says, I am your father's brother. Is that true?
Mhm.
He's the brother of Laban. Yeah, so he's stacking the deck from the beginning. He's trying to tell her, look, I'm a very close relative of you. You don't really realize it. I'm basically your uncle.
No,
But
that's it.
I'm not your uncle. I'm your
Yeah. The other question I have is is this the first instance where the Torah gives approval of marrying your first cousin?
Hey, look, you can be interpreted that way.
again,
Yes,
Sarah
it could be
was half
interpreted.
too.
Yeah.
I have
I mean-
sisters.
I mean, look,
Still.
there are so many ways.
It's closer
That's a
to cousin.
difference.
Okay, there are so many ways of interpreting it. I wouldn't necessarily go because I've never seen any type of midrash or anything like this is the reason you can, because we don't do it in our culture today. We don't. Again,
But it was done. It was done.
Oh, yeah, it was done. It was done, but
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about in the 20th century, it was done.
That was done.
yes, it was done. Yeah,
Cousins.
Yeah. yeah,
When I met this friend and we talked about family,
yes,
how family got.
yeah.
She said, well, my grandmothers were sisters.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But in the
Yeah.
Torah's listing of all the relationships,
My grandpa-
you shall not marry your father's mother, you shall.
Mm.
The
Several
cousin's not
cousins who were
mentioned
married.
on the
No,
forbidden.
You're
list,
right,
So that.
right. So
understood
that your question is basically moot. I mean, it was accepted. It was accepted in that
It
time.
is.
Yeah. Was it? Yes,
It's already been mentioned.
Mentioned. Okay,
That the first cousins is the closest relationship that where marriage is allowed.
all right. So in a sense, Lloyd, he's being friendly. He's being friendly to her. Okay. Of course, we interpreted that he's smitten with love, as we'll see in a short time. He's smitten with the first glance, love at first sight. I mean, everything is in the eyes. And as I say, there's more than meets the eye. We'll come to it when we get to Leah. What about Leah's eyes? Anybody? Leah's eyes, they were weak. Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're automatically, from our culture perspective, this looks like a movie kind of moment, but I don't think that would be correct. I think it's kissing her and everything would not be like Hollywood. It would be more kind of similar what Laban's coming out to hug and kiss his nephew. It would be a little bit more in this is okay, not some kind of
Yes,
No.
I agree.
overtly
agree.
romantic kind of thing.
How long was Yaakov? How many years Yaakov didn't see anybody from his family? He spent how many years in a yeshiva of Shem?
Oh, yeah,
Levi?
that's the,
So it was first relatives that he saw for many years. He definitely missed his mother.
Mhm.
And another thing, probably because he always underlines that, okay, I'm a relative, mother's side, and probably she looked like his mom. So they very close relatives. So maybe she reminded him about Rivka. And it is just, he was so overwhelmed. I don't see other explanation because kissing and crying, weeping. So it is.
Yeah, what do you make of weeping? He wept, he kissed her, and then he wept.
Yes, because he missed his mother. It is just reminding that what he left behind, and now it is absolutely new reality. And definitely he fell in love because it is something new, and at the same time it is part of his old home.
Very good
Yeah, this is,
explanation.
that, right,
Good
this is
explanation.
a
Yes.
reunion,
Yes.
not like, oh, I found a really awesome wench or something. This is a different, not a Hollywood kind of a.
I
Yeah,
mean, you have to keep in mind that in those days, you know, families were
clannishness.
clannish. They lived, you know, separate from other families, and they're very clandestine, so to speak. And they don't, you know, each one had its own group, and here she is uniting with a close family member, and Jacob is overcome. Okay. Um, okay, let's go on with number 13. Stuart, yeah. And it came to pass.
One moment, please. 15. Oh, 13. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet and brought him to his house, and he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh, and he abode with him the space of a month.
Okay, so here, all right, so this doesn't tell us that much about Rachel. It tells us a lot about the father, that the household in which he comes from. So he's you know he's extending this beautiful courtesy to his nephew, if you will, and look, you're come and spend some time with me, okay? And does Jacob feel comfortable with this? We'll see in a moment, okay? Okay, number 15, Arlene, go ahead.
And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldst thou art therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be?
Okay, let's stop here. We're repeating something. Laban says, "You're my brother." Okay. Jacob is not his brother. We know that, but it's a way of
Family.
it's a way of trucking up to his nephew. Now, obviously, Jacob wants to be there because of his attraction to his future wife, and he feels uncomfortable. Why does he feel uncomfortable? Because if he stays there, he'll feel indebted to his father-in-law. So he wants to make it clear, hey, I'm 30 days or however long I stay here, don't expect me to get a free ride. And Laban, of course, being a very greedy, pecuniary lover of money, picks up on it and says, I read your thought. You mean you're going to be here for nothing? I'm going to exact some wages from you. Okay. Okay. Now we get to a very, very important sentence. Okay. And why don't you read it, Oliver? Again.
16.
Yeah, 15 and 16. Yeah.
No, she read
16. 16 is very
now,
important.
Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel.
Okay, now, okay. What does that tell us? Matter of fact, right? But of course, the rabbinic literature makes a lot of this, which I'll get to in a moment. Okay, next sentence. Okay.
And Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was of beautiful form and fair to look upon.
Okay, let's just stop here. Okay, so you have two daughters. Okay, are they equal? I'm throwing this out. Are they equal? Oh, let's begin a conversation here because there's a lot that more than meets the eye here. Go ahead.
Well, again, I'm always trying to get where I'm in the 21st century. This is back here, completely different, but trying to get it more correctly. And I think, first of all, I'm trying to subtract out the Hollywood sort of automatic thing. I'm not sure how much the attraction is simply, like we would think in a Hollywood context. Now it's purely, we're looking at looks. that's the first woman he saw. She was pleasing, sure, but everything sort of like fit into place in his emotional experience. She had the characteristics and already with at the well with the meeting and everything else. And from what they live and the way they look at, he could see this is beautiful. I can see, and again, it was simply, it's not like I have a career at this, and it was simply there she is.
I only have eyes for you.
And
I only have
not
eyes for you.
based just
Yeah.
looks, but based on this is my father's family. What a nice woman, already so hospitable and everything else.
Okay.
He never saw
this-
Leah before.
Very
I
good.
think
This is
he
from
locked
Jacob's
into
point
that.
of view.
Right, he
Well,
locked
let's
into
talk about
the-
equality from the father's point of view.
Yeah, now he looks right, which brings in later that she's the older one and she's
Exactly.
supposed to be sort of, I guess, like an older son with the younger sons, some difference that plays into it. But no, I just the part about Yaakov, that he sure it was pleasant to look at, but I think he was just looking at like everything fits perfectly, just like his when the servant for Abraham for Ribka,
Eliezer.
that it was praying for, let me see that it fit into place. It's just like what I requested from Hashem, that it worked out. But he, again, it just, and it happened that she was pleasing him, but it worked out that way. It wasn't like, well, let's see what again, in contrast to say like the story of Esther, the king, let's have 500 women walk in front of me naked so I can see which one's this is a complete opposite of the type of
I would take what you're saying, and it's very, very to the point that from Laban's point of view, he had two daughters. There's
Right,
no
he's
indication
looking
he
more
favored
as
one over the other. There's no indication.
Right.
Okay. Now, you read is that the Einei Leah Rakot, the eyes of Leah are weak. And compared, and it says, Rachel Hayata Yafa, and Rachel is beautiful. She is a beautiful form and fair to look upon. Now you have a strong distinction. What do we make of the idea of Leah's having weak eyes? Okay, what does that mean, weak eyes? Of course, this Rabbi Hertz says tender, which the Targum understand as being beautiful. So she had beautiful eyes. I mean, that's one way of looking at
I
it.
think there's been
Weak eyes.
dozens.
What do you
of
think,
different-
Camilla? What do you think?
Think they understood that Rachel more beautiful and he likes Rachel.
His eyes, sure, his
in
eyes. His eyes.
And woman feel that he didn't like her, but
Very good, because what you're saying is that the eyes to Jacob, the eyes of his future wife, Rachel, are beautiful. Her appearance is beautiful. I mean, and his sister had weak eyes. In Jacob's eyes, she was a weaker version of womanhood, if you will, all right? A weaker version.
There are many sort of what the meaning is. I think there's multiple things. And I think I've read like where because she was bitter and sour, maybe because she says I'm already older and I'm not, or something. But there's multiple speculations.
Well, this is the beauty of Torah. This is the beauty of Torah, and the beauty of Anna Akhmatova is that she presents a woman with that. There's no glamour here. Childbirth, and she did bear children. She passed away with Benjamin and Joseph. And she did produce through Joseph a leader. Joseph was a leader of the children of the 12 children. As we later learn, he becomes prince of Egypt, and he has in front of him the children of Leah coming and begging, for mercy because they feel that they're, they're killed. And so, the tables are turned at that point. Okay, so there's a lot of ways that we can go, but since I did bring in this longer poem, let us put this on hold. And we read from the book of Jeremiah. Okay, and you can access page 958 in your Hertz 958, David and Helene. Okay, go to verse 16, verse 15, verse 15, page 958. So we read this Jeremiah on the second day of Passover, and Jeremiah is trying to, he's the prophet of the first temple. The Jeremiads were all these warnings that he gave to the Jewish people living in Jerusalem, that imminent disaster, unless you change your ways, imminent disaster. And he's even the Babylonian king locks him up because he's a rabble-rouser and he's in jail, but then he escapes from jail. But in any case, this is a very positive Haftarah, and that's the reason we read on Rosh Hashanah, because we try to bring us together on the eve of Yom Kippur, that we get comfort from each other. Now, verse 16, I will read it. And I'll translate it. Thus saith the Lord, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Okay, Ramah refers to, I believe, the area of 5 miles north of Jerusalem. It's the road between Jerusalem and Bethlehem, where Rachel is buried. So, am I correct here?
South of Jerusalem.
Okay, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children because they are not. Now, this is very important. Why? Anybody? Okay. Rachel at this point is being used by Jeremiah as an intercessor, if you will, an intermediary between the people of Jerusalem that are fleeing. This is the second temple, sorry, the first temple, and all the Jews are fleeing. And as they're fleeing, they're going by Rachel's grave. And so Rachel is being called on by Jeremiah in order to pray for the Jewish people. What? That they're in exile. Please make their exile short. Comfort them. They're tremendous. Look, I lamented my relationship for having children, at least 14 years with Jacob. So I know what it means to lament. I know what it means to be without and have to have offspring through my maidservant. She had 2 children through her maidservant, Bilhah. So she is a very good person for to go to in order to pray for all the souls that are going by, and they don't realize that that's her grave. You have to understand it. They're going by, but she knows who they are. So, the eyes have it. Her spirit sees them, but they don't see her. And so she's used as a blessing. Very important, because that brings to a great degree the amount of lamentation, the amount of suffering that Rachel, as a barren woman, and of course all of the matriarchs were barren. I mean, and Hannah, we read about Samuel's mother. She's barren. She produces one of the great prophets. Okay, so let's go on. We have about 15 minutes to look at this Rachel by Akhmatoiva. Okay. Now, Marina, why don't you start off with the first 5 lines? Okay, and you should have, please. Here's another one. Everybody should have, yeah.
Time to go to show like a humble wayfarer. They heard her rising from the garden to the skies. The little whelp's mouth was covered by a boulder. He rolled the old boulder away from the well and watered the flock with clean water himself.
Okay. Marianne, how accurate is this?
So I'm curious, and I just want to read it.
You have it
So-
in Russian. I know you have it in Russian.
Yes. I-
That's the reason I called her Marina, because she has the original text and you can see. By the way, there are many, many interpretations of this poem. I picked one out that reproduced well, so that's the reason for my picking this particular one out.
Just a second.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
you wrote a short one and a long one?
No, I'm just saying there were different translators of this particular poem. If you go online, you will see that there were maybe half a dozen. But this one reproduced well, and I read it.
Oh,
and
so one was just about the tomb and the other was about Rachel
yeah,
herself.
this is more of her life.
Okay.
Okay, and so we have to ask her. This is a go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Read it in Russian?
Yeah.
Just to, no, I just, because it is absolutely different music.
Is this literal? Is it a literal translation? Literal, meaning word for word, or is the translation
It is more, like, it is more literal translations than poetic.
this is more literal? Okay, all right, it's a literal translation.
Встретил Иаков в долине Рахиль. Он ей поклонился, как странник бездомный. Стада поднимали горячую пыль. Источник был камнем завален огромным. Он камень своей рукой отвалил и чистой водой овец напоил.
Okay,
So it is the first,
that's the first
yeah.
stanza, the first stanza. Okay.
So
I have at it. Basically, I agree with what she's saying. Okay, it's a sympathetic description. It's sympathetic. He's meeting his intended cousin for the first time, and he bows to her. Humble. He's a humble wayfarer. Like you said, Jacob is moving around so much. He's studied in the yeshiva for 7 years. He's a humble wayfarer. He's just he's a nice guy and he's humble. It's a hot day. The herds dust to the sky. We know it's dry. It's a desert community. The little well's mouth, little well. I mean, well's got to have water, so it's a full-blooded well. I would say that. By a boulder, good. He rolled the boulder away and he watered the flock with clean water. Very, very good. Okay, so that's good. Okay, Ludmilla, would you like to do the next one?
Yes.
Jake, you and me next.
Sadness crept into his heart. Each passing day, growing with her, he bargained to toil 7 years.
There would be no pain marches all across the country. We're going to say 2,700 locations.
To the captive of love in his eyes, the 7 years seemed as dancing days.
Okay.
Message that I continue to get from
that's two last lines. Translation is not more
Yeah.
accurate.
That's not okay.
Because here her artful father, it is not what she's saying, because now it is no any description of Laban. It is very neutral. So, and here it is already like overshadows that something wrong with this. So, but it is in
Now,
the original text. And actually, if it translated literally, he agreed. He agreed to serve for.
Yeah, he agreed.
Right.
Sure.
Yes, so it is.
It's a bargain, but in terms of his father-in-law, everything is cash. Everything is a trade. It's a trade-off here. Okay, so but it's an artful father, Marina. Artful. You understand?
Yes,
You're artful. Yeah.
But it is no description of Laban in the text because it is very neutral. Only then she added some qualities of him. So it is no. It isn't. And actually, we need to understand in Russian culture, with main focus on New Testament.
Yes.
Old Testament wasn't studied. It was, it existed as stories with beginning, middle, and end. So it is how she got the text. And for her, it is very, like, very romantic. And all stories, we will see it in a film about Lot. It is absolutely different approach, and it is very black and white.
That is my G flat.
So it is
That's in clarity.
we see in the text. Actually, it is Yaakov offered to serve. It is not he agreed to do it. It was his own initiative. We can have different.
He was so
about it.
so captive with her beauty that he
Yes, so it was his words. It is not Laban offered something. And maybe if he would wait and Laban would say, okay, like 2 years. But no, he was very determined. So now it is.
You have to keep in mind here that the word artful in English culture is a very strong word. It's not somebody who appreciates art. It's somebody who is devious, somebody who is.
But he is not.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is not here in this part, in this stanza. It is just Lavan without any description added.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. But so the emphasis more on his love, his passion to serve and to have Rachel as his wife. I mean, he would do anything. He climb the tallest mountain, as we say in expression, climb the tallest mountain to serve her. Okay, good. Okay, now the next paragraph next one is very important. Do I have somebody who's going to get? The next one is very important to answer your.
Thirsty for silver and lies and mercy didn't espouse, assuming for forgiveness for all of the lies as long as they serve his own house. He took homely Leah with a sure hand and led her to Jacob in his wedding tent.
Okay, now, do we have a better description of Laban here? What Laban is all about? I mean, as opposed to Jacob, we said Jacob studied, he was a man of the tent. Okay, and his brother was a man of the field. Okay, right? So,
so on the corrections that I have in original text,
yeah,
she characterized Leah as a blind.
she's blind.
Here it is absolutely, it is so different.
Leah blind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Homely.
yeah.
Yeah, homely means not yeah, unattractive. Very good. Very
I think
unattractive. Yeah.
again, are many of the descriptions
Really?
nearsighted or blind or eyes were not, glamorous. These are all
I
things
think it is from
seen
different.
Yes.
different.
But the message is there that she's unattractive compared to
Yes, but she
her sister.
finds that she doesn't see.
She doesn't see. She doesn't see.
She is blind.
Well,
So
maybe.
don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe
We don't,
she
but
doesn't.
it is what.
Yeah.
It is a
But this is very
text.
good
Yeah.
because maybe she is blindsided by Jacob's love for her sister. Maybe she didn't realize. I mean, these are two close sisters. They are close. They show respect, and after all, the Torah says that when Laban tricked his son-in-law by bringing Leah in that night, that what did Rachel do? She gave the signs of herself to the sister so that Jacob would be fooled. Marina, do you follow me? The signs, whatever those, it's a code. It's a code word. Yeah, it's a passcode to get into Zoom code. Zoom, yeah. Very clever stuff. Very clever. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Yes.
I'm just wondering, wasn't this the origin of the bedecked ceremony in the
Yeah.
wedding?
Yeah,
Yes.
Right.
I know a
I
twin.
know. I think the purpose of the story is because the story is basically a lesson plan.
Hmm.
And that is the reason they put this in, not because Jacob got fooled, no, but the lesson is you have to make sure to, whatever you do it with your eyes open.
Open eyes, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because remember, Jacob had what? 10 children?
Not with Leia.
And the maidservant.
So.
By the way, the entire
Yeah, but Jacob is a man, he's a man of Torah. He's
Right.
unschooled in the ways of dealing with people. He's unschooled. But the eyes have it him. When he saw the eyes of his intended, he was bedazzled as dazzling days, this poet. Rachel says, seemed as few dazzling. He was so taken with her that, 7 years went by, what do they say, wink of an eyelash. Wink of an eyelash.
It's for him, not for her.
Yeah, for him.
We
him.
never read that for Rachel it was easy.
It was very hard on her, and that's not emphasized at this point. The hardship that she had, that she weeps for her children. I mean, literally, it took her so many years of trying and trying. And what does she say at one time to Jacob? She says, "You plead for me. Unless you give me children," what does she say? "I want to die." She was ready to die. That's how pained she was in life.
Very much.
Yes, she suffered tremendous suffering. And this may tell you a little bit about the poet, but we won't go in that direction. But the poet writing this, the tremendous suffering.
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe that's why, like you're saying, why did the poet pick her and not, Abraham and Sarah? There's really not a story behind how they met and everything else, but that was his wife and that was it. And she seems to also come from a well-to-do background or whatever. And then Rivka was there. Well, go back.
Eliezer, yeah.
It was they met, they're married, brought to the
arranged marriages,
brought to the mothers, whatever, and have children. Okay, so and Rachel's maybe a bit, or not maybe, it seems like distinctive, where she's met right away with being pushed back
every single
by her sister, then having to experience barren for so many years, and all the other tensions with having the children and so on, and Jacob's own struggles, having to bear those. And then at the end, she's still by the road. So in respect to the other ones, Sarah, the Machpelah, and so on, it had sort of more of a coherent, dignified, somewhat. I mean, yeah, Sarah had barren period and so on, but she stands out where from beginning to end, she seems to have been kind of got pushed aside and kind of.
We have very, very good. We have a few minutes left. We have 2 more paragraphs to do. So let's at least finish this poem. Susan, A Sultry Night.
Yeah, I just want to mention a couple of things. First of all, back in the text, the Ibn Ezra said he kissed her hand.
Yes.
Secondly, just one funny story. I knew a set of twins, identical twins, and when one got married, she had to roll her tongue for the bedekin because her sister could not. And it's a great picture in their wedding album. A sultry night reigns over desert sky and spreads misty dews in the morning. While pulling her braids in despair all that night, the younger of sisters is moaning, sends curses to Leah and God for her doom, imploring the angel of death to come soon.
Okay. A lot here, very strong images, and this really gets to what we've been discussing, the pain and suffering. A sultry night means it's very, very hot and uncomfortable. Even though it's misty dews in the morning, it's a little bit softer. Pulling her braids in despair. Okay, she is a woman in pain.
But
The-
it's still not what we see in Chumash. What we see in Chumash.
in the Chumash.
It's
Yeah.
a different approach, and
Yes.
everyone, like
Yes, of course.
underlines that, okay, emphasize that she gave all signs to Leah, so because she loved her.
She loved her sister.
Yeah.
She wasn't pained by her sister, but she was pained by the lack
But
of fertility.
Is she cursing her sister? Or she just
No,
wasn't.
that's why I think
That's the.
the Chumash doesn't say she.
exactly, but
This-
it is why I said,
It's not literal.
in Russia, in Soviet Union, forget about it, but even in Russia, Old Testament wasn't part of the study, part
Right.
of the curriculum, and only stories from
Mm.
Chumash
She got
were
it wrong.
known. So it is how she
learned it.
Akhmatova saw the story.
Yeah.
She kind of, definitely she was probably she knew the original text but never paid attention because it is kind of, it's not how it was in mind. It was part of the culture, but not in the way how we
Right,
used to study.
Russian Orthodox would just be the story, what you read, that's it. There's no Rashi, there's no anything. It's just simply,
Forget about
they
it.
just simply read
Midrash.
into it. And
No,
he's reading
No
into the
Midrash.
cursing here, which.
People, the midrash on this is so thick. I have 18 pages that I can only go through about half of it. It was just, it boggles the mind. It's called Jewish Women's Archive, Rachel Midrash and Agadah. So the rabbis take it in every conceivable direction. Okay. Yes, they sends curses to Leah, but imploring the angel of death to come soon. We know that. And finally, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead, Les? Jacob is dreaming.
And Jacob is dreaming the sweetest of dreams. The clear well springs in the valley, and Rachel's eyes happily looking at him, her beautiful voice singing softly. Oh, weren't you kissing me? Jacob, love, and calling me always your black.
Okay. And then a more happier note here, happy note. Jacob is dreaming the sweetest of dreams. Okay. He had to dream, 14 years in order to have the clear well sprang and everything is clear. The well is clear and plenty of water. And Rachel's eyes happily looking at him. There's conjugation here. There's connection. Okay. Her beautiful voice singing softly. Oh, weren't you kissing me, Jacob, with love and calling me always your black turtle dove? I would think we all agree that it ends on a very positive upscale note here of bringing, finally he has his dream come true. Any comments? Yes, go ahead.
Argument. Idea of Laban being the bad guy in there.
Okay.
I think that he was a man of his time, protecting his family, and not going into, this lovey-dovey stuff. I have an older daughter, I've got to get her married first, just like the religious people do in the community. It's understood. He was a man of the law, and this is like Dr. Spot saying, you have to be permissive and have.
No, but he was also greedy.
Yeah.
Why?
In what way?
Why was he
He was
greedy?
greedy, monetarily greedy by,
Changing
Is it like?
well, it was
Seven-
kind of an extracting.
7 extra years.
Yeah.
You got to work for me
I can
to get
understand
that
what
one. Yeah. Ooh,
I
that
can
is pretty tough.
off Leia first, but the rest of it is a little,
Could have just been honest with
Yeah.
Jacob and said, you're very successful for 7 years. I need 7 more years or.
Jacob is very successful with the herds, and he tries to take it with the herds, and I'll take the speckled ones, and you take the other ones. And what happens?
Yeah, he
Jacob
cleans up
screws his greed. He became so greedy. He wanted to keep him an extra 7 years so they can increase the flock.
It was just veering off.
I mean, it was greed. I mean, I agree with you. He's a businessman, but he took it to excess. He did.
That's one thing. Laban followed. Wasn't Laban imposed that on Jacob, but rather
Jacob, yeah, Jacob wanted to work for her. Yeah, he wasn't going to hang around for
to
nothing.
get basic.
Yeah,
But however,
Jacob put his time in.
twisted it around.
Agreed. Guys, I was going to do next time a great find of mine. That is in the Chinese literature. I get all kinds of literature. There is the Shakespeare of Chinese literature. I thought to introduce that next time, but I didn't get to Lot's Wife. If you guys want me to do it, I will do Lot's Wife and maybe start the Shakespeare next time. It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Should we do Lot's Wife? Yeah, we'll do Lot's Wife, and then I'll move on to the Shakespeare, which says a lot about war, because our Tanakh says a lot about war, and there's a lot of Tanakh that we can learn by poets of war. I mean, of course, the Song of the Sea talks about war, that God is the great warrior, God is the great shall we say, leader of the Jewish people. It wasn't Moses, it was God that got us out of Egypt. Moses was his appointed executor, if you will. But there's a lot of good stuff there about war. So we'll continue with Lot's Wife next time. Really appreciate you guys coming. And
Thank you for your.
I had a couple of words about the
Yes.
connection of
Yeah.
Akhmatoiva and Rachel.
yes,
She actually, this poem written in 1921.
you guys take the sheets for next time, and you can take the lot sheet, so you'll have it. I'll bring more, but take your lot sheet. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. For lover, left,
Laban.
for lover, Anna Akhmatoiva lover, left,
Okay.
left country, and he called her to go to immigrate with him, and she didn't.
Now
And
you were talking about Gumalov? No,
no,
this is somebody else.
it's her husband
Okay, it's her lover. I know she had many lovers.
was Arden. He immigrated.
Elaine, thank you for coming.
He immigrated, I think, to London, and she didn't come with him. And at that moment, she felt alone, abandoned, and it is somehow intervened with Rachel's story, because she felt that she left behind.
That
It was her decision to stay in the Soviet Union.
that comes across very